In this video, we're using the fragrance oil Coconut Woods to make a men's bar. Now this isn't just a standard traditional cold process bar, but we're going to be using activated charcoal, so it'll be more of a spa bar. To start off, we'll gently add our lye crystals into the cold distilled water and create our lye solution. Once we finish dissolving the crystals, we're going to set this aside to cool at room temperature. It's important that when we blend our oils and our lye crystals together, that they're close in temperature. As always, you can find the full recipe for this bar of soap and its printable form over at our website at thermalmermaid.com. For this recipe, we're using a 5-oil combination. We'll use rice bran, coconut oil, canola, shea butter, and castor oil. The design for this bar will be half white and half black marble swirl. So in order to keep the white white, we're using all very light colored oils for this project. You'll notice that everything has a very clear texture and color to it except for the rice bran. Rice bran is only a little bit yellowish, and even so, it works well when you're trying to get your nice bright whites with the titanium dioxide. Now the recipe that we're making today is 3 pounds of oils in order to make our loaf. The 5-oil blend is combined in order to account for conditioning and cleansing and moisturizing qualities. So the oils aren't just randomly poured together until we equal 3 oils. In fact, we go over to our soaper's calculator and then we adjust these oils to make sure that we get the proper amounts so that the qualities blend together to make a nice bar of soap. Now we'll set this aside next to our lye water solution and we'll pre-prepare our additional ingredients so that they're ready to be added into the blend after we've created our soap batter. Here, we're going to measure out our activated charcoal, and then in the red cup, we're going to measure out our titanium dioxide. Now you'll notice that we're blending our titanium dioxide with distilled cold water, and we'll blend this into a nice smooth paste before we add it into our soap batter. That way we've broken up all the little granules and made it as fine and smooth as we possibly can, so that you don't have little white specks that would mess up the marbled effect of the white and black contrast. Now we can make our soap batter by gently pouring the lye solution into the combination of oils once they've both reached room temperature. Notice that when I softened the shea butter, I didn't melt it completely. That's because as this is mixing and emulsifying, the shea butter will be the last oil that blends in to saponify with the lye. And that means that the shea butter will end up being our super fat. So some of that will end up floating in the bar and will create a moisturizing effect in the bar. You'll have to blend this well with a stick blender in order to get it to emulsify and completely bond. This particular recipe doesn't trace very quickly, so you're going to blend this for just a few full solid minutes before you start to see it thicken up. You want to make sure that we get the shea butter completely blended and broken up into the batter. Now we'll add our titanium dioxide and we'll color this a nice lighter shade of white. Now it's time to add our fragrance oil. And so we've chosen Coconut Woods from Crafter's Choice, which is an excellent, dark, clean men's scent. This has 2.6% vanilla in it, and so you'll immediately see that it colors a little bit yellow tinge to the soap batter. And we've also added an equal amount of vanilla stabilizer. Now that will prevent the soap from turning brown or tinging while it's going through the curing process. But it doesn't stop the batter from turning yellow from the actual fragrance oil color itself. So you'll see that we're now getting kind of a vanilla tint that's happened in our soap batter. Now I'm fine with this. This is going to still look very nice in contrast to the black, but if you really needed a popping white color, then you want to steer away from fragrance oils that have vanilla in them so that your titanium dioxide will work best. Now, if I really wanted this to get a little bit whiter, I could add more titanium dioxide, but once you start adding too much titanium dioxide, you'll risk your soap cracking, or you'll have some other effects that might be undesirable in your soap. So we do want to keep our measurements moderate while we're trying to work with our proportions. After splitting the batter into 2 equal parts, we're going to add the activated charcoal in its powdered form directly into 1/2 of the batter. You'll see here that the dust is light and fluffy, and like many of the other products that we pulverize into dust, you don't necessarily want to breathe this in. And charcoal, in fact, is not something you want to breathe into your lungs. Just take a look at how it fluffs into the air on contact with my stick blender. Now, this is activated charcoal, and it's specifically made for cosmetic use. These are not your grilling charcoals that you would get for the 4th of July and then pulverize them down to add to your soap. The charcoal we're using here has been processed at a very high temperature, and it comes from the ashes of coconut shells. Charcoal is great in a spa bar because it's known for drawing out toxins and impurities, and in the past has actually been used as a medicinal component where you could consume the pieces of charcoal or put it into a medicine, and it was known to withdraw toxins from a person's body. Of course, we're not going to eat this, and unless any of your products specifically state food grade, I wouldn't recommend you try that with any of your cosmetic additives. Now with this bar, we want a marbled effect with an in-the-pot swirl method. So we'll bring in a 3rd bowl, and as you can see, I'll pour a little bit of the white batter at the bottom of the bowl. Very gently, I'll slowly alternate pouring down the side of the bowl and allow for this to layer on top of each other so that I can create a marbled texture look. Now, I'm doing this pretty carefully, but I am also allowing for it to spill over and kind of get into the batter. I don't want perfect zebra stripes or anything that's going to be too patterned. I want it to take on a little bit of a life of its own. If you pour very slowly, you will get a more controlled look. And if you pour quickly, you'll get more of a marbled look, and you will end up with a little bit more of the gray that'll mix in with the black and white contrast. So however you want this to turn out, it's really up to you. But we'll keep alternating these layers until we're completely finished pouring our batter. Now that we've finished layering the batter, we're going to pour it into our mold. Oh, this is where our camera stops, but that's okay. You've already seen the best part. Just pour this directly into the mold and let it set up for 24 hours. After 24 hours, you'll get your hard loaf and it will be ready to cut. The final result is this beautiful marbled pattern. Now you can set these aside to cure, and they'll be ready to use in 4 to 6 weeks. If you'd like to watch more of our soap making methods, then make sure you hit the subscribe button and feel free to come on over to our website where you can download the recipes and many more just like these